Okay, so welcome to trumpet lesson number one. In trumpet lesson number one, we're going to learn a couple of things. Learn how to hold the trumpet. We're going to learn the basics of buzzing the mouthpiece. And we're going to learn about long tones and what might happen when you first take the instrument out and buzz into it. So the first thing we need to do is talk about how you use your lips. So if you take your hand and you put your thumb here and your finger here and you push back a little bit, make it real tight across your lips and try buzzing. And you're going to try and get a tone, and you'll find that sometimes it's kind of rough. Now if it comes out like this, that probably is because you're pursing your lips. You're going. So you don't. You want to make your lips tight, and you want to try and get a nice sort of dry buzzing noise. So as we get into this, we take the mouthpiece, try and move the sound up and down. So when you first take the mouthpiece and you're buzzing into it, you want to try and experiment. Try moving it up a little bit and down a little bit, and then find that happy spot right in the middle. And the first thing you want to learn how to do, even before you pick the trumpet up, so I'm going to put my trumpet down over here. Even before you pick the trumpet up, is you want to learn how to hold a tone steady. So that's what we're going to work on. So I'll take this and I'll just, and it's like, oh, it's not working. Tighten your lips. Once you've gotten to a point where you can get the mouthpiece to make a single note, not moving around, not going, you want to try and again hold that note steady. You take a big breath, nice long tone. And you pick a note, try and go a little lower. Once you've figured out how to play a note using just your lips and the mouthpiece, you can even try and move up and down a couple of notes. So I might try and go up 3 notes in a scale. In between each note, I'm going to go like this. I'm touching my tongue to the inside of my lips, and that's going to interrupt the airstream and help me stop that air so I can control when the note begins and ends, so I can get a nice clean beginning. Full disclosure, I'm not really a trumpet player. I'm a keyboard player. I'm a piano player who has a fair amount of knowledge about how to teach this basic instrument. So, again, what are we trying to do in this first lesson? You're trying to take this mouthpiece and get yourself Once you've gotten maybe 3 notes, you try and work out maybe the 5 first notes of the scale. Or if you want to get really fancy, you can actually think about the pitch of the instrument. So I'm going to pitch myself to B flat. Oh, isn't that lucky? So there's B flat, and that's the instrument's home tone. However, we're going to lie to you. On trumpet, we lie. We tell you that that's a C. So when you pick up the trumpet, you make that first note. What you think is C, and for you it is C. For everybody else in the world, for guitar players, for piano players, for bass players, for singers, that note is B flat. And we'll get into that more later. But again, first major lesson. You can carry the mouthpiece around with you, learn to play. Once you can hold that tone steady, you're probably ready to pick the instrument up. So here's the instrument. And you're going, okay, how do I hold this thing? Do I hold it like this? No, we don't hold it like that. So first, let's learn how to put the mouthpiece in. It's pretty straightforward. You just sort of stick it in the lead pipe. It's called a lead pipe. And if you want, you can twist it just a little bit. You don't have to push it down very hard. You're not trying to get it to lock or anything. Things you don't want to do. You don't want to hit it. You don't want to ever push on it. If it gets stuck, do not. Are you listening? Do not take a pair of pliers and try to take it out. I have something called a mouthpiece puller, and if necessary, I can remove your mouthpiece if it gets stuck. And you know, if you're at home and you're virtual, we'll figure out a way to get that instrument to me. Just communicate with me, and we'll make sure that your mouthpiece is taken out. Anyhow, so I put the mouthpiece in, and now I'm going to take my left hand. This is my left hand. My left hand is the one that makes an L when I hold it up. Of course, I'm dyslexic, so both my hands made L's. It really confused me. Anyhow, take your left hand, make sort of a two-fingered pistol, if you will, and you put your thumb here and those fingers there. So you're holding it kind of like that. If you have a tuning adjustment, your ring finger goes in a tuning adjustment, and your pinky will sit just behind that. This trumpet does not have one of those, so we're not going to worry about it right now. In the beginning, you don't really use the tuning slide a lot. As you become more advanced and you want to make sure you're playing in tune all of the time, some of the higher register notes you are going to be using that tuning slide, but not so much right now. All right, so my mouth is going to go to this mouthpiece. This one right here, that's the first valve. It's the one closest to the mouthpiece. So 1, 2, 3. And we're going to learn some basic patterns, but right now, all I'm worried about is trying to get a note out of the instrument. So again, here was my lovely C. And I put my mouthpiece into the instrument, and it plays. Now, probably what's going to happen when you first pick up the instrument, oh, this is rest position, by the way. I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to put my thumb underneath the lead tube, my pinky and the pinky grip, and my 3 fingers of my right hand on these 3 valves. Okay? In a different lesson, we will talk about cleaning the instrument. Anyhow, I've got the instrument. I'm in rest position. It's sitting on my right knee. When we start having ensembles again, you'll be asked sometimes to be sitting in rest position. This is rest position. Your back is fairly straight, as if someone was pulling a wire from the back of your head, your neck, attached to your spine, and you're sitting comfortably. So you have your rib cage aligned, because when you're blowing, these muscles that wrap around your rib cage, those are called the intercostal muscles. And there's not going to be a test on that, but that's what helps you control that airflow, that airstream. There's a misconception when you're trying to get higher notes. It's really about narrowing the airstream and making it go a little faster, not so much blowing harder. So let's start with this basic idea of, again, this note that we had on just the mouthpiece. I put it in the instrument. When you first pick up the instrument, here's probably what's going to happen. It's probably going to move around on you. And you want to work on it and try and get it to a point where you can get it to comfortably just play one note. There's a good chance that that's the note that's going to come out, and that would be a C. It's the lower of the first 2 notes that usually come out when you play the instrument. If you're somebody with a naturally tight embouchure, your lips buzz a little higher, you're going to get this note. And that's going to be called the note G. So when you're first starting, it's great to be able to try and just hold one of those steady. You take a big breath. Long tones. Every lesson, every time you pick up the instrument, every time you're trying to practice, please begin with long tones. It will develop the muscles, your embouchure, from the French, bouche, 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 B-O-U-C-H-E, bouche, embouchure. An embouchure is the shape and musculature and tension in the lips and face that make it possible to play this thing. So, the next thing that we're going to try to get you to do after you get one note steady is to be able to jump between those two notes, C and G. So if you've ever seen Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, you could think, yo, wee, yo, yo, and you go, so that is lesson 1 of playing the trumpet.